Well, new concerns that one governor's push to restore voting rights may actually be a ploy to get Hillary Clinton into the White House. Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, who was Mrs. Clinton's 2008 campaign chairman, just restored voting rights to more than 200,000 ex-felons in his state. Why'd he do that? Trace Gallagher is live in our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
And Megan, you should know these armed robbers, rapists, and murderers would still be allowed to vote even if they didn't pay their court fines or restitution to their victims. Governor McAuliffe says he's rectifying Virginia's long, sad history of suppressing African-American voting power. 1 in 4 black residents of the state has been banned from voting because of restrictions on felons. By using executive power, the governor circumvented Virginia's Republican-run legislature and is now being accused of providing a blatant favor to his old friend Hillary Clinton, trying to give her a crucial edge in a swing state. So far this election season, black voters, especially in the South, have turned out in very large numbers for Hillary Clinton. Here's McAuliffe on ABC's This Week. Watch.
Tell the Republicans, quit complaining and go out and earn these folks' right to vote for you. Go out and talk to them.
Even Republicans who support giving some felons back their right to vote say McAuliffe went too far by including violent offenders. Back in 2010, then Democratic Virginia Governor Tim Kaine also wanted to restore voting rights to felons, but thought that legally it had to be handled on a case-by-case basis, writing, quoting here, "A blanket order restoring voting rights of everyone would be a rewrite of the law rather than a contemplated use of the executive clemency powers." But Governor McAuliffe believes he not only has the legal authority for this move, he plans to sign similar executive orders each month to cover felons as they are released. Megan.
Trace, thank you. Joining me now with more, Fox News' senior judicial analyst and a New York Times bestselling author, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you.
Good to see you, Megan.
So just to put this in context, in 2012, President Obama beat Mitt Romney in Virginia by 150,000 votes.
Right.
McAuliffe is adding 200,000 ex-felons to the voting rolls. That will help lengthen that potential lead by quite an amount.
It probably will. So there's two arguments at play here. One is the argument from justice and from the Constitution, and one is the political argument. The argument from justice, I happen to be one of those people who believe you should not be perpetually punished. That when you do your time and pay your fine and make restitution, whatever the court has ordered, you should get back into society and you should be able to vote.
You should have your full citizen rights restored.
Correct. That the 8th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits perpetual punishment, and denying people the right to vote after they've done their time is a form of perpetual punishment. But you have 2 attorneys general, one Republican, one Democrat in Virginia, in the past 8 years, who each said it can't be done on a blanket basis. The law gave the governor the ability to relieve convicted felons of some of their punishment, as long as the governor examined each felon individually, rather than did it in a group of 200,000 people. One of the problems is these 200,000 people lost their registration to vote at the moment they were convicted of the felony. So they have to go back and re-register. They have plenty of time in which to do that. But given his relationship to Mrs. Clinton, given his financial relationship to the Clintons, remember, we're dirt poor and we need money to buy a house, and Terry McAuliffe bought the house for them. Given the fact that
his debt is paid, really.
Right?
I mean, he doesn't need to do anything funky with the voting rolls.
But given the fact that Virginia is a very, very key pivotal state.
It's more swing than it's ever been.
Correct, correct. It's kind of obvious what he's trying to do. So there's going to be a challenge.
Because the presumption is, they say that the vast majority of these ex-cons are African-American, and there's an assumption that they're going to vote Democrat. But McAuliffe is saying, you are walking on dangerous ground when you say that. Why don't you go out and fight for those votes, Republican candidate, whoever you may be.
He's actually making a good point, but I will tell you this. This is not going to be decided at the voting booth, and it's not going to be decided by Terry McAuliffe. It's going to be decided by the Supreme Court of Virginia as to whether or not he can actually do this in such massive numbers. They could very well follow the attorneys general who said to him, you got to do it individually.
I was surprised to see that in some 38 states, voting rights are automatically restored once prison, parole, probation time have been completed.
Yes,
38
that
states
is
say.
the modern rule, and Virginia has kept the old rule, but it is given.
As a lot of people think, you murder somebody, you're done. You don't get to vote anymore. I don't care if you did your time. There are certain things you don't get to do any longer.
You know, when people have paid their debt to society, they have the right to be fully rehabilitated and to come back in society and start their life anew, and that includes voting. The question is this the way to do it? Is this the time to do it? Or should it be done by the Virginia legislature if they want to do it in a group of 210,000 at once?
Fascinating. Judge, great to see you.
Good to see you.
Well,